In April 1776, American forces under the command of General George Washington captured the symbolic city of Boston after a short siege. Seeing rebel positions were better than their own, British forces made a hasty retreat to New York. General Washington would, however, unfortunately be injured during the siege, forcing Congress to appoint a new commander-in-chief. Lieutenant General Fowler Schwanz, a former engineer from a Dutch settlement in Pennsylvania, has recently been promoted to the honored position. Under him is General Zachariah Manfurter, a man of questionable abilities, yet unproven, and Major General Attic, a hard-fighting frontiersman and veteran of the French and Indian War. Today, these men meet in Boston to discuss their next move.
Zachariah Manfurter. And, used to run a small town, mayor of the small town, till the damn dirty British taxed us to just death.
To just death?
Absolutely destroyed my town. So now I go around the country rallying people to the rebel army. Down with the British. Also, side note, I am the best dancer out of all three of us.
River dancer.
That's right. World champion, 3-time world champion river dancer.
General Fowler Schwantz I was a surveyor and engineer of sorts before the war. Surveyed the frontier beforehand. And then the British just started taxing all my surveying equipment, so I reluctantly had to take up arms against the crown. And this is General Adcock.
General goddamn Barclay Adcock. All right, now I'm a merchant. Sell coffee, clothes, other shit crap they sold back then. I had my first command in the French and Indian War, where I gained a small reputation. The myth has kind of grown way beyond my level of confidence. That's how I got the command in this war. And I hit the bottle a little bit more than some people should, but I'm reluctantly taking up the fight against the British because everybody else in my town did, and I felt bad not doing it. So there we go.
It'd be rude not to.
Be rude not to.
It would be.
So our overall plan is we have to hold Boston. We have a star fort outside Boston to give us some covering fire in case they try to invade or blockade. Is we have command, General Manfreder's command here at Northampton. General Adcock's command will be at Hartford. I'm in Boston, smoozing things over with the locals real quick. Our immediate objectives are to take Albany and Montreal.
Meanwhile, in New York, a furious Thomas Gage resigned his position over his inability to handle the war as he saw fit. In his place, Major General Frederick Franz Geske would take command. An Austrian by birth, he moved to the Americas during the War of Austrian Secession, eventually enlisting in the British Army for the French and Indian War. Geske was present at the Battle of Quebec and would earn a commission in the Royal Americans Regiment. However, he would not be alone, as the British would be having a joint command. His counterpart, Kenilworth Hardinge III, came from an aristocratic family in southern England. He was raised a gentleman first and foremost, but soon the want for victory and glory would overcome these rules. Rumor has it that he earned his nickname during the French and Indian War, where he allegedly blew up a wagon full of wounded enemy soldiers. While the men enjoyed the drink and comforts of New York, the two men sat alone in a tavern to discuss their next move.
General Frederick Geske. I'm a colonist descended from Germans that came over after the tumultuous dealings with Austria and France over in Europe. I'm a veteran of the French and Indian War. I was commissioned with the Protestant Soldiers Act in the 1760s, and I rose through the ranks, and now I'm a general over Loyalist and British Islands troops. And this is my comrade.
I'm General Twaddleworth Hardinge. My nickname is the Unhinged Jew. We like battle tactics and breaking the Geneva Convention.
Our general overall plan for the 1776 campaign, obviously most of our forces start out garrison in New York. That's our launching off point. We also have a fort near the river crossing between Albany and Saratoga. So holding that intersection, which not only goes south towards New York, west towards the frontier, north towards Canada, and east towards the rest of New England. But holding that river for trade, the roads, as I said, And then our overall battle plan is to take most of our overland forces and move towards Boston and take that from the rebels, the so-called patriots. He's worried about getting there. I'm worried about holding New York. We have a third member of our campaign who's not here yet, so his forces are broken up between us at the moment. And meanwhile, while we're trying to conduct this campaign, while he's dealing with the rebels mostly, I'll be working on the hearts and minds of the populace and raising more loyalist regiments, since most of our forces are obviously across the pond. Our biggest worry, I would say, is losing the hearts and minds of the people. If we have the average citizenry turn against us, then I don't think we can raise more loyalists, and then they can just keep raising regiments. And then also our dealings with the natives. Obviously, the French and Indian War left a big scar on the 13 colonies. And I think repairing relations with them and honoring the proclamation of 1763 will allow us to unite with the natives and then forge a destiny with them that doesn't include rebellion and dumping tea in harbors.
General Geske makes a good point. Historically, the British were unable to keep their promise to the natives to prevent colonial settlement west of the Proclamation Line. Perhaps these new deals with the natives may lead to a favorable outcome for the Crown.
So far, what we've decided is in New York, which is going to be our primary base of operations on the eastern seaboard. We're leaving one brigade there under command of General Geske. That'll be the 33rd and the 60th Regiments of Foot, the 60th being the Royal Americans, as well as 3 companies of Royal Artillery. There is a Fort Lightfoot, next to Albany, and that's going to be another garrisoning point. We're going to have 50 cavalrymen acting as garrison troops, while the 2nd Brigade, under General Twaddleworth Hardick, is going to take 2 regiments of foot, the 4th and the 44th, and then an Irish regiment of foot, the 27th, along with another regiment of dragoons, and he's going to march east, generally speaking, towards Boston to meet the enemy, find him, and destroy him.
Our campaign begins in early April 1776. In this game, each turn is about 2 weeks, so every 2 turns is a month. The British consensus is that General Hardick will move north to Albany, then eastwards towards Northampton via Mountain Pass with about 690 men. General Geske decides to stay in New York with the remainder of British forces, totaling about 600 men and 36 guns. This is an interesting decision, as this is all the available British artillery in the region. Sending General Hardick with no artillery support will prove a decision they may regret later.
Gentlemen, Frederick, you're going to get the dragoons. You're going to go back to your command. You're going to hold this mountain pass here in between Albany and Northampton. If for whatever reason there's an overwhelming force, you're to blow that mountain pass.
I will blow that mountain pass.
General Adcock,
Yep.
you're going to take light cav. You're going to go back to Hartford, start scouting out this area right here. If there's an overwhelming force heading that way, you're to blow this bridge in between Hartford and Woodstock. Well, unfortunately, they're going to have a party later.
The Americans also decide to move one of their frigates from the Providence area to the Boston Harbor area in a defensive posture.
I'm going to use the cannon to cover my infantry's retreat. They are going to place charges, and Private Doolittle is going to stay behind and make a valiant stand and blow that mountain pass.
Well, I will tell you that the infantry in the mountains have not been discovered.
Okay.
They're up in the mountains and they're reporting to you. They are seeing this British contingent come through. So they are not being engaged because the British do not see them.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just blow it anyway.
Okay.
Take it all out.
Let's roll and see if it blows, huh? Alright, so 11 plus, it blows. And it does the intended effect of caving the entire mountain pass.
Does Private Doolittle die no matter what?
Depends on the roll.
Okay.
If it's 20, he escapes.
Because he could die.
Alright, let's
We're
see.
okay with it.
The charges below, but only one barrel manages to explode, only sending a few rocks down on the Brits, which are now aware of your position.
You're useless, you know that? You're holding up, man.
Listen there. It's Private Doolittle, it's not me.
Alright, so yeah, pretty much the charges failed below. The British are now alerted, which they'll learn on their turn, that you've done this. What do you want to do now?
all ass.
Upon hearing reports that the ambush had failed and the size of the British force was still unknown, General Manfrotto began to reconsolidate all of his forces in Northampton. A quickly and poorly written dispatch informed Lieutenant General Schwanz of an impending battle. Schwanz sent word for Manfrotto to rendezvous with him at Hadley to rejoin their commands and to reconsolidate. Meanwhile, General Schwanz also issued orders to a small flotilla of sloops to sail up the Connecticut River, just in case battle was to be joined near the river. In early May, General Hardick's force finally exited the Green Mountains into the fertile plains near Northampton. Hardick ordered a screen line around Northampton to investigate what kind of enemy forces may still be there. Meanwhile, General Geske ordered the entire Royal Navy to move eastward around Cape Cod towards Boston to begin a blockade. Meanwhile, our American commanders have been rapidly redeploying. General Schwanz has passed Worcester en route to Hadley, and General Manfrotto has moved his troops towards Hadley. General Addock has increased his screen line westward and has begun preparing explosives on the Hartford-Woodstock Bridge.
It's massive, you said?
It's massive. Are they sure it was like troops and not just another like little block?
Well, I mean, if you roll a 1, then I just told you an absolute lie, but if you roll a 20, I told you an absolute truth. So.
Well, what did I roll?
I can't tell you
You
that.
motherfucker.
It might be worth it to hold and then.
Keep in mind, the longer you have that screen out there.
Just the more accurate it gets.
Perhaps, yes.
I mean, I should figure it should be 4.
In this game, fog of war plays an essential part, making it more realistic. The commanders may make an intelligence roll. Based on this roll, the umpire decides whether or not they have received accurate or falsified information. Here our British players have rolled a 4. Therefore, I have it given that their scouts are scared and have drastically overestimated what they see. In late May, General Hardick discovered that Northampton had been abandoned as Manfrotto had already moved through Hadley with new orders. Seeing that the British were reacting slower than they thought, Schwanz ordered Manfrotto to begin moving north to find a pass through the Green Mountains, cross the Hudson River, and seize Montreal. A truly massive undertaking. Schwanz, at the same time, was beginning to withdraw from Hadley when he received word that the British had begun moving again, and with haste. Schwanz ordered his army to about-face and move back to Hadley. Here was the decisive battle that Schwanz had been seeking. Simultaneously, General Addock was given orders to blow the Hartford-Woodstock Bridge and to move eastwards through Smithfield to Plymouth. General Hardick's plan was to converge 2 of his infantry regiments into town, with a third being hidden behind forestry as a reserve to be used. Essential to this was his initial cavalry attack of 75 horses to seize the bridge into Hadley. General Schwanz's plan was to initially be defensive, and if the opportunity arose, exploit a weakness with a mass infantry assault across the bridge. The battle for Hadley began as the British advanced with haste towards the town, but the 4th and 44th Regiments of foot moved in attack column. As the infantry began to move into the town, the 75 cavalrymen rushed to the Hadley Bridge in an attempt to beat the Americans there. The cavalry had secondary orders to blow that bridge if practicable. However, as the horses reached the bridge, they were faced by the glinting bayonets of the 1st Connecticut Line, who held firm. At the same time, ships that were thought to have been fishing vessels raised the rebel banner, and 3 sloops opened fire on the exposed cavalry at close range, devastating them. Of the 75 cavalry sent, 36 were killed and 8 were taken prisoner. Seeing as the Americans had 3 batteries of artillery and 3 sloops raining hailfire down his men, Hardick had no other choice but to issue a withdrawal.
Rebel forces was to bring the 27th Regiment, which is the Irish lads, up as soon as they had committed across the bridge. When they were too far gone, we were going to bring up our reinforcements, a full other regiment, and then they'd meet them in battle. But after sustaining some pretty heavy casualties from these sloops right here, and we don't have any cavalry or any cannon to touch them, an executive decision was made, and the Crown forces are going to withdraw from the Battle of Hadley, Massachusetts, and we'll fight another day with the proper artillery.
But General Schwanz was not one to let the British leave so easily.
The only thing I require is that the officers and men are treated as if they are your own and given
Of
proper
course,
medical
they will
care.
be treated as if they are our own,
Okay.
with our limited medical care,
Then we were
and officers will be treated as gentlemen.
Okay.
As you have seen, we have not targeted any officers.
Following the more or less stalemate at Hadley, Hardick received word that General Geske would meet him near Hartford to combine their forces. Hardick reconsolidated his command and began moving southwards towards Hartford. Geske also dispatched a small detachment to Fort Lightfoot near Albany to bolster his defenses. Meanwhile, the Americans were in a flurry of activity. Generals Attic and Schwanz were moving back to Boston, whilst General Manfred continued to move north of Deerfield, continuing the search for a mountain crossing that would take him to the Hudson River and eventually to Montreal. General Schwanz would order Attic to blow the Hartford Bridge, just as he was to blow the Hadley Bridge. This would seal the British on the western side of the Connecticut River and screen their movements. To the east, the Royal Navy had finally reached Boston and began its blockade. Unfortunately, a rebel naval officer who could neither read nor write misunderstood Schwanz's orders. He understood that preparing for battle meant to openly and suicidally charge the British blockade with the lone frigate.
He's a typical provincial. He rose through the ranks not by merit or deed, but by nepotism and charisma. And now he's commanding a ship running diplomatic colors to rush a British naval flotilla and kill them unjustly and dishonorably.
So what are you gonna do?
Every single gun in that flotilla is going to fire on that frigate.
The rebel frigate USS Triumph, which was flying diplomatic colors to fool the British, a war crime mind you, charged the British line when it raised its rebel colors. It fired an opening salvo which immediately detonated a powder magazine on the British frigate HMS Phoenix. This killed all 200 men on board. Their victory was short-lived as all 6 of the remaining British vessels sent a wall of round shot at the frigate. The USS Triumph exploded as all but 16 men were lost. These men would be picked up by the British Navy as prisoners. By early July, British forces had met near Hartford, Connecticut. With all the bridges blown except for one near Washington far to the north, Geske and Hardick would have to be clever and fast to take advantage of the American withdrawal. Meanwhile, American forces were approaching Boston to reconsolidate, with General Manfred still attempting to cross the Green Mountains. July would seem to be a month of movement for both armies. We hope you enjoyed the very first episode in our Bayonets of 76 campaign. Although the generals we represent are very fictional, we're always looking ways to make our gameplay more realistic. If you have suggestions, we would love to hear them. Most of our generals are also terribly understaffed, so if you have any ideas on how they should wage the campaign, send them a dispatch post-haste. Until next time. By early July, Geske and Hardick had converged both of their armies into Hartford, Connecticut. The engineers reported to them that it will take at least a few weeks to make a pontoon bridge across the Connecticut River, as the previous bridge had been blown up by the retreating rebels. They must build quickly, as there is still a rebel naval presence sailing up and down the Connecticut River, which may ruin their plans. Once they cross, they will move east through Smithfield and towards Boston, and on the way hopefully link up with 3 sloops that have been dispatched from the Boston blockade. The British Army has been split into 2 separate brigades. The 1st Brigade, underneath General Hardick, contains 2 regiments of foot, the 44th and the 4th, totaling about 680 men. The 2nd Brigade, underneath General Geske, contains 3 regiments, 1st Regiment being the 60th Regiment of Foot, the 33rd Regiment of Foot, and an Hessian contingent, along with 8 guns and 32 men. Together, these forces combined make almost 1,500 men, a truly sizable force which they intend to march on Boston with. Meanwhile, American forces have finally converged at Boston. Schwanz's army has become exhausted from the tireless marching and decides to stay 2 weeks in Boston to rest and recoup his forces. Schwanz also decides to leave General Attic with his militia contingent at the fort overlooking Boston. Late July showed little movement for both armies. The British do send a single cavalry troop from Fort Lightfoot to guard the Green Mountain Pass, while the Americans continue to rest in Boston. However, the most interesting part of the month would be from the British on the political front.
What are the sympathies of the mayor of Hartford?
The mayor of Hartford?
Yeah, does he have any sympathies?
Are you wanting a meeting with him?
Sure, why not? I'd like to gauge his stake in the war.
Okay. Next turn, we'll talk to him.
I'll take him and my staff.
You guys will have dinner in City Hall?
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right.
I'd like 1 company of grenadier, or 1 platoon of grenadiers to accompany me as well.
Oh.
The tallest and best looking.
Okay. Sounds good, man.
By early August, the Americans had begun moving again. Schwanz sent multiple scouting parties across Massachusetts to locate British forces. He would take 2 regiments and 8 guns with him to Worcester, leaving Attic in Boston. Finally, a message was received. General Manfurter reported that he had crossed the Green Mountains and made it to the Hudson. The only issue now was finding a way to cross the mighty river.
Your chief engineer reports that this river, with how many men that you have and the size of the river, is going to take you 5 turns to cross.
5 turns across.
5 turns.
Anything I can do to speed that up?
So instead of what you can do is you can start to requisition, go up and down the river, and possibly steal boats from fishermen.
Okay.
Because I don't remember General Schwann's here giving you money to pay for boats or anything.
No.
So, or you could take from your own men's pay to attempt to get these boats. But your only other choice to make it quicker is to just acquisition these boats. Or sit and wait to build to build boats or a pontoon bridge.
Is there any way I can, I mean, I guess still acquisitioning, but basically like persuade so I don't really like make a super negative impact?
Okay, go ahead. I'm a fisherman. Go ahead and try and persuade me.
So, give us these boats. I will pay you once we have crossed and taken Montreal. I'll give you the location where we're at. And
Oh, so you're gonna go take Montreal?
maybe.
It's cool. It's pretty cool, man. How much would I be getting back for my boat?
How much would you want?
Man, this boat is my grandpappy's. 20 coin.
Meanwhile, our British commanders were enjoying a nice meal with the mayor of Hartford, Loch Blackness.
Alright, so you've come to the meeting with your chief engineer from Quebec.
Oh, Major DeForge?
Yeah,
No, he's my aide de camp.
Oh, your aide de camp. Yeah.
What's that?
So
Like
you
my advisor, second in command.
So you have arrived at the mayor's, the city hall. All right, your city one. Is there anything specific you'd like to discuss, or you just want to eat and drink?
I just want to ensure that, when we leave Hartford, the sympathies won't change, and that Hartford can be counted upon to remain loyal to the crown, and they'll dispatch information to the nearest British Army regiment, command, whatever, as to the nature of patriot activities in the area if it comes to their doorstep. So I just want, put it bluntly, I want the mayor to tell me if rebels get near him, I want him to send word either New York City, where there's probably some British officers there, or to my command directly letting me know if they're moving through his area.
Okay, remember, you two are the only command in New England right now.
Right, okay.
So, but he says, of course, he's loyal to the king. After all, the rebels did blow up his bridge.
Which we are now repairing. I mean, I don't know if he's familiar with the tune British Grenadiers, but at the end of the song it talks about Grenadiers coming out and rebuilding. And what do you know? I have 50 of my tallest men in here right now, chilling out.
He blushes. He's like, they are tall.
Blushes. He's a. I notice you're not married, Mayor, so I understand what you're putting down.
Okay, so you finish this illustrious dinner with the mayor, and you exit Hartford. It's nighttime. Okay, the lanterns of the city are glowing bright, are kind of flickering on and off. In the distance, under the moonlight, you can see your men working feverishly on this river, trying to get this pontoon bridge built as quick as possible. The bridge will be complete next term.
Okay. If the good folk of Providence, Rhode Island, know if there's any troops in that forested area to the west of their city.
You may roll, but don't look.
You can't look at the roll. Oh, okay.
You get a message back from the people of Providence saying that they don't talk to lobsterbacks.
They don't talk to lobsterbacks?
You fucked up, dude. What'd you do to them?
They just probably have continental sympathies. So the citizenry of Providence doesn't talk to lobsterbacks?
Who's the mayor?
Yeah, for real.
Hang them.
Because we're about.
We'll have a discussion with them when we march through Providence. We might make a detour specifically for them.
If we can't.
In late August, British forces began to move east. Their plan was to seize all of Rhode Island and continue the march until Boston. American forces, meanwhile, were moving westwards towards Hadley to ascertain possible British positions there, with a small cavalry detachment sent south. As of now, both sides are essentially unaware of where the other is, but that is about to change. A lone fisherman would approach the British with some interesting information.
Give us this false information, getting us into a trap.
He came here to save his own ass because he knows we were going to find it out anyway. Hang him.
One day in the stocks.
One.
Okay, you throw him in the stocks.
And I want it to be known. This is going to be. He's going to be in the stocks in Saratoga. So send him back to his home city.
Okay. I like it.
I would like to know which one of them were accurate. So I'd like to roll.
Which one are more believable?
Yeah.
I guess.
None of them are.
That will be
The boat one is a little bit.
That will be your intelligence and special move roll for the.
I don't have anything else to really roll for. You want to roll for it? Can't look.
All right. So out of the two, the one that seems the most believable is the one where they head towards Montreal.
No way! How did they get across the river? This is me fuming.
Dude, if this is all false information, who cares?
I know, it's just me fuming in my office. Or in my baggage train with my staff. 999! Alright, I would like a dispatch to be sent to those Dragoons. Head north.
To what dragoons?
The Dragoons are in that mountain pass. Telling them, given the new information we have, pass along the entirety of what I was just told. Because if that's Patreon information, and it's true, and it falls in their hands, I want them to know that I know. And if not, then who cares? So tell the Dragoons to start heading north to Saratoga, and then as far north to Montreal as they can get, and see if they see any rebels there.
At the beginning of September, British forces began moving out of Rhode Island. Geske would send a small cavalry detachment to catch the rumor to the north. Meanwhile, Schwantz received two interesting bits of information. One, his cavalry ran to a British contingent near Smithfield, and two, that a Native American detachment of 25 warriors had joined Manforter's move to Montreal. British forces were closing in on the last city before Boston, Plymouth, by late September. They originally planned to march straight to Boston, but worried by rebel cavalry screening their movements and a fort on the southern side of Boston in their way, the British decided to move into the forestry to screen their movements to the west. The Americans are moving as well. General Schwantz, after receiving reports that it would take almost a month to ferry the whole army across the Connecticut River, decided to send only half his force across the river into Hadley. General Schwantz would lead the other half of his force, 4 guns and 340 men of the 7th Pennsylvania, back to Worcester. Schwantz was worried about the reports his scouts had given him of a British contingent to the east near Plymouth, but he wasn't quite sure the size of it. At the same time, Schwantz would order all the remaining cavalry in Massachusetts to converge on his position, west of the woods. Once Schwantz arrived in Worcester, he would deploy his army south, to the heights overlooking the city and the river. He would decide to dig in here, awaiting reports of any other British movements. During the end of September, the Americans were trying feverishly to get more intelligence on British dispositions. Schwantz could just not handle the fact that he did not know where they were.
I'd like to roll for intelligence.
Yes, sir. Where at? What do you want to know?
Obviously the Providence, Smithfield, Worcester, Plymouth triangle.
I'm sorry. You really give me a little bit more of an exact area.
Pretty much that
I want the Boston, New York, Hartford area.
You go with the map.
I'd like to know how many regiments are around that pass through Hartford.
How many regiments have passed through Hartford? Okay, go ahead.
So, that's it all. There you go.
All right, sir. So, you receive a letter from the mayor of Hartford And the mayor says, "Damn the rebellion, God live the king."
I feel like hanging.
You do receive, though, from a downtrodden stable boy. Downtrodden stable boy looks at one of your informants and tells them that he did see a lot come here. That's all he can tell you. He can tell you that it is more than what isn't happening.
And they were all heading east.
He says he's like a little 8-9-year-old boy, but he thinks we've ever seen them all across that Monument Bridge.
In early October, British forces continued to move west towards Worcester in order to seize the heights south of the town. Both sides were still unaware of each other's dispositions, but that was about to change.
Rebels.
Where you want to come out of? Are you want to come out here on this high ground?
Is that high ground?
That is.
Yeah, I think we should watch over Worcester. We can put our. Do we have cannons with us?
We have 2 batteries, 4 cannons each.
I think the high ground would be better.
Yeah, at the very least, you could probably look into Worcester and then reevaluate.
Look into Worcester first?
Yeah, from like up top.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then if, depending on what the situation there is, march back north and then east into Boston.
Yeah.
Or God forbid, we march all the way to Lancaster and then down southeast into Boston to avoid that fort a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. Do me a favor. You exit the tree line. I need you to bring the American commanders.
God forbid. Am I marching into a battle here?
I need you to bring the American commanders. So yes, you're being attacked by these 4 infantry regiments onto your hill. The Cav can come into the battle, but they won't start on the table.
Correct.
As far as the troops in Boston, man, you're going to have to roll like almost a 20. And if they do arrive, they're going to arrive exhausted on the battlefield.
No,
Absolutely destroy. And then militia too. So,
No big deal. Alrighty, we're going to do a fighting withdrawal to the south.
okay.
And I'm going to bring my cav in behind them to hopefully peel off some of their units. Because it's 4 regiments versus 1. Do I see any cannons? Or is it just their infantry right now?
All you can see is the infantry right now.
Okay.
And all your men are pretty much silhouetted like up on the slope. So I'll say pretty much all of your units, except for the Cav, of course, are going to be revealed at the beginning.
Then my unit in Hartford.
Yes.
They're able to maybe support. If I march them there. If I march them from Hartford,
Do you want to double time them?
I'd like to double time, just real quick. Whenever they reach Hartford, any enemy forces?
No.
Okay, didn't expect any. I'd like to move that regiment of the Connecticut's to the Smithfield Providence Bridge. Also, I shot the mayor in Hartfield as we were passing through.
Hartford?
Hartford, yeah.
You shot the mayor?
I shot the mayor because he was
Oh, no.
he was British.
They're going to hate that. They really like him, actually.
His oh wait, he actually was British. I was joking at first, but I'll shoot him.
Okay, that's fine.
We've hung him as a traitor.
The boy is now in charge. The stable boy is now.
The stable boy. Stable boy's with us.
Yeah.
That Connecticut regiment.
Alright, so you're going to try and double time them east of the bridge.
We are going to double time east to the bridge.
So the commander of that regiment tells us that he's going to try and get there.
The British plan of attack was the 1st Brigade, commanded by DeForge, to move to the rebel left, while Geske took the 2nd Brigade to the right. Geske ordered 2 special detachments made, an all-light infantry battalion on the right flank, and an all-grenadier battalion on his left flank. This would hopefully keep the Americans from escaping, as the only other place they could go was the river. Simultaneously, it was hoped that the sloops dispatched from the Boston blockade would be sailing up the Providence River, and hopefully arrive behind the rebels to assist during the battle. The American plan was simple: survive. Schwanz would attempt a breakout to the north, placing the survival of his artillery above all. He would march in column in hopes of increasing his movement speed to exit the British trap as soon as possible. Schwanz was also praying for the arrival of 50 cavalry in the British rear to draw more units away to enable his escape. The morning of October 14th was an icy cold one, with frost still littering the ground. A fog also rolled in from the Providence River, concealing the American forces. This would also limit both sides' use of artillery. The Americans would begin the battle by exiting their poorly made earthworks and forming up to march to Worcester. To the slow beat of drums, the British line began their advance on the American positions.
Could you be a deer and move these guys 6 inches forward? Yeah.
All those?
Yeah.
Be a lamb.
Be a bonny lad.
A bonny lass.
How the fuck? You're a girl now?
I don't know what I'm saying. I'm
Gay?
yeah.
We call that. I want to make sure.
Who I'm in range of. Cannon's gonna fire on that general staff.
Okay.
Dear God. Do you know no honor?
No, I don't. You have 1 dice, right?
Yeah.
4 to 6. No, I got a 1. They did nothing.
It's a miss. I recommend that you roll close to yourself.
Random breaks in the fog have allowed American artillery to find the British line. Being the packed lines that they are, casualties were going to be high. However, they did not score a single hit.
Whenever we are commanded to storm the Palisades.
I'm gonna go put both batteries at it. Might as well. Yeah, might as well. Okay.
It is worth mentioning that both sides have been rolling for their reinforcements. The British for their 3 sloops, and the Americans have been rolling for their cavalry to arrive.
Maybe you take measure back.
Six inches right there. And
Fire
fire
of
volley.
You gotta get some casualties on their side, so.
Fire.
Alright.
Sorry.
You're going uphill here, so that's 3. Remember, uphill's minus 3 inches.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, these guys are just entering the hill then, so there's that. Yeah.
Finally, Geske has seen the white sails of the British Navy on the Providence River. Could this signal the end of the battle?
Go ahead.
Meanwhile, to the rear, 50 American cavalry have appeared. Unbeknownst to the Americans, the British had a reserve regiment of Hessians stationed in the woods, which now fire a relentless volley.
Roll 1 at a time, slow roll.
1, 4,
4, a 5.
2 hit.
2 hits, 2 hits.
As you unleash a volley from the wood line into this cavalry.
Alright.
So far during the battle, only the 1st Brigade has been in action. Yet even still, the only force holding back the Americans is a single light infantry battalion on the right. A light infantry battalion versus a line regiment? Who would come out on top? The light infantry would appear to come on top as they unleash 4 devastating volleys into the packed ranks of the Americans attempting to flee. In our rule system, glinting bayonets, in march column, any unit that is fired upon, the damage taken from the 1st rank will be taken at least 4 ranks back. So a single hit is very devastating.
That's also quite French.
We're returning for battle.
It's the only option they got, really.
Seeing the disaster beginning to engulf his army, Schwanz has ordered 1 battalion to the right in order to keep a door open for the rest of the army to escape.
I'm thinking we do an about.
However, during the course of the battle, the British would learn some devastating news.
These guys around.
General Geske, you received a dispatch just now. From Hartford.
My man?
You received a dispatch from that man's wife. Stating that that when the rebels entered the town, they hung him and strung him up as a traitor.
What? Savages! No, it's my homie! Savages! Dude, what? Now we need to slaughter
He was killed.
them. Kill the generals. He was hung?
He was hung in town.
Fine, a Connecticut regiment, so
How'd you
that
find
offsets.
So, here's a question. How'd they find out he was my pal?
Well, they walked in. Well, they sent they tried to get some intel from Hartford, and he sent back, "Damn the rebellion, God save the king."
Oh, hell yeah!
Hey, you know what? Hey,
He went out like a chicken.
Seeing that they have pissed the British off, the Americans sent a white flag.
Your turn.
Okay. An American envoy approaches the British lines with a white flag.
Okay. We will surrender the 5 companies right there. The 4 healthy companies of cannons retreat north toward Worcester with the general staff, and the 2 cav also retreat north.
And our response, we had discussed that our friend and dear crown supporter from Hartford, the mayor, Blackness, yes,
Blackness.
he was hung.
He was hung.
So we
Actually, he was shot. If we were
So hold on.
we're incensed.
I don't think.
Well, he was hung, shot, then tar and feathered.
Oh no, they had to die then.
But that was from a Connecticut
Major
regiment.
DeForge, I would like to suggest that we don't treat, the Pennsylvanians as if they are the savage Connecticutans.
Well, we need to act savages in order to get this battle done. So, and I don't think the generals should leave either. I think we should kill the generals.
My son is here. He can't witness such savagery.
Then we'll take him as a prisoner of war.
See,
My general has instructed
thing
me to
is-
tell you, if you wish to fight, you are losing a ship in this.
If we lose a
I think we
ship
should
at
take
the
that
expense of almost a regiment's worth of men, you make a good point, Major. So here's the thing: the cavalry can leave, but the cannon must stay in their place.
Well, looks like we're fighting.
Okay.
At this point in the engagement, the British have seized the American earthworks and are moving from all directions. The Americans have formed a small defensive line to the south in order to prevent the complete destruction of their army that is still moving to Worcester. They're hoping their cavalry will come in to save the day.
And then this one as well at that company. We'll do the
Throw some smoke over there.
the guy further out.
Yes, for my militia.
So we want.
Put them in the water so we can tally the couches later.
The Americans don't realize it yet, but the 1st Battalion is already devastated and the battle is already lost. Unbeknownst to them, a totally separate regiment of grenadiers is still on their way to the battlefield.
Right there.
He is suicidal. I told
I got a 5.
All right, that's a hit.
Dang, how many do sloops get?
3.
Reconsider our terms, I implore you, before any more young American colonials have to die.
The battle has gotten desperate by this point, as both sides fire point blank at one another, causing substantial losses. The Royal Navy fires inflating round shot into the panicking American lines.
So for the cannons, I'll say you're going to hit the infantry here first before you hit those.
Okay, we'll take out this infantry.
Fire. Hit. Destroyed.
Now, are they flanked?
I mean, they're routing, so
Okay.
they're already routing.
All three
Are
of
you gonna move
these,
them now or after you get some shooting?
all 3 of these are going to
After you
shoot
finish shooting.
at this company right here. So we'll start with the.
Don't you care to just
Nope.
let us leave?
Nope.
You go your
As I
way.
said, you can keep. What's the matter here?
And I'm going to use these guys to fire again at this unit. 4. Hit it. I'm going to use this unit to fire at these units.
Okay.
6. This is dead.
Yeah, that's tragic for them.
Huzzah!
I have.
Yeah, let's put the smoke up real quick, so I can take a picture.
Schwantz would double time the remainder of his army back to Hadley to reconjoin with his Connecticut regiment stationed there. The British, on the other hand, seeing that the Americans were withdrawing west, decided to continue with their converged force to Boston and to surround the fort, guarding it. This move by the British could seal the fate of the entire New England campaign. We hope you enjoyed our episode on the Bayonets of 76 campaign. If you have any ideas on how our generals could wage the war in New England, send them a dispatch, post haste, The outcome of the war is in your hands.
God dang. Every time I told them boys, no band practice before noon. You stupid. Oh. Don't make so much dang noise. Mary, mother of God. Oh, shit. All right, boys. Hand me that liquor. All right, Captain, go get the men inside.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant, tell them to prepare the cannon.
Yes, sir.
Stir your grits, butter your toast, boys. It's happening.
By late November, General Schwantz had decided to leave Adcock to his fate and decided to move west across the Green Mountains in an attempt to salvage some kind of victory. General Adcock, for all his command, was left with about 340 militia to guard the fort south of Boston, hoping that hope may come. But seeing that the ring was being closed, he knew that his time might be short.
You've learned from a dispatch rider from Worcester that General Schwantz's army was just defeated in the field. Taking essentially 90% casualties on his divided force. So now his army is only maybe about, at most, 55-60% strength.
Okay.
You don't know for sure, but the way Schwantz words it to you is that the entire force that he just engaged at Worcester is moving northeast towards Boston.
Okay.
And you do see, sitting on the ramparts of the fort, you see, of course, the blockade outside of Boston, and you also see a dust cloud coming from the southwest.
Fantastic.
Meanwhile, in Northampton, General Schwantz discusses his strategy.
All my troops, when we're going to hit their star fort, my ship should be there right now, too. They've got to go. They were going through New York.
So it's going to take you 2 turns because you're going through the mountains to reach that fort. In 2 turns, you'll be on the outskirts of the fort.
Okay. My ships are like at New York's mouth, right?
Yes.
Is that where they were?
Yes, that's where they were at the end. Now, do you plan on blowing most of those bridges?
You said those sloops would go through those bridges.
Oh yeah, because the river's major enough. Yeah, never mind. Forget. I lied. Okay.
No, the sloops are just going to go there and then report any intel they have once I link up with them. And I haven't heard anything from General Manfreder. Have I got a letter from his command or anything?
No, it's actually been surprisingly quiet.
Okay, I'm going to send my second, Colonel Arnold, to go investigate what's going on in Montreal.
Very well. Receive word of that. I'll say a single man riding hard on a horse. 2 turns time.
Outside of Boston, Generals Geske and Hardick have convened to discuss the British plan of attack on Adcock's positions.
General Geske.
Twaddleworth, my man.
Good, sir. Just going over the plans for the fort.
May I take a look?
Absolutely, sir.
General Hardick, our plan for attack. With my 3 main regiments, I'll begin a full frontal assault on their fort. You will head south towards Plymouth, load up on our ships waiting for you there. You will return to Boston Harbor and begin an amphibious assault on the northern part of the fort.
Excellent plan, sir.
Surprise is on our side. We shall take the day.
I enjoy it. Would you like some tea now?
I would.
While Geske retains his encirclement with 1,100 men and 8 guns, Hardick has begun to move south with his command of 400 men to meet the Royal Navy in Plymouth. By early December, Schwanz had made it halfway through the Green Mountains, and Haddock had convened with the Royal Navy at Plymouth. And by late December, both forces had reached their destinations. Haddock on the outside of Boston, and Schwanz outside of Lightfoot. However, the British would launch their attack on Adcock mere hours before Schwanz would launch his attack on Fort Lightfoot.
Last turn of the year.
Oh shit, it's been a year?
It's been a good year.
It's been a very good year.
So, Merry Christmas.
Now, what are we doing to celebrate? Are we going to do like the World War I truce with them? Like come out, shake hands, and I can stab them real quick?
The opposite.
So on Christmas Day is when you're going to begin your assault, yeah?
Yeah, Christmas Day.
Oh, hallelujah. Jesus Christ has been born.
You see those ships
You know that
stationed
Christmas
off
is-
of Boston.
What day Christmas is?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, so you see those ships stationed off of Boston.
Yes, the 25th, I think. I don't fucking... I'm sorry, Moon. Go.
Jesus Christ. Sorry. So the ships will be off of you at the beginning of the battle. Because I will say, are you attacking in the early morning? I'll say there's like a slight fog because the sea's a little warm.
I kind of would prefer if his regiment landed on the beach first to take him by surprise,
Okay.
and then the third regiment.
Well, I mean, I think. Are you wanting to attack at night? Is that what you want to do? Because I'll say, I mean, they're on a hill in a fort, so overlooking the sea. So they're going to be able to notice a flotilla appear, and you begin to paddle out there. So there's not really much.
Yeah, probably in the dawn. The
I say the wee
Super-
morning,
yes.
the wee early hours of the morning.
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock at the latest. They're gonna start rolling out.
Okay,
Yeah, some Irish boys, because I just won't go now.
okay, so that will begin our
You have
battle.
the Irish lads. You have.
Damn, dude, I wish I had them so I could have the wee early morning.
In the early hours of Christmas Day,
I knew it. I knew it.
you see the British flotilla, which had left, return. And you see rowboats upon rowboats heading towards the fort via the sea.
Okay.
So we have a battle for whatever the name of this fort is. What's the name of this fort, by the way?
Forlorn Hope. I actually like that. Yeah. Forlorn Hope.
Just as planned, Haddock began to move his regiment to shore. At the same time, Gieske moved his 3 regiments in position for his full frontal assault. A small fog clouded the battlefield, obscuring both sides' artillery for the moment. The 2 companies of New Hampshire Line, which had reached Adcock shortly before the encirclement began to move out of the fortifications.
So this one, this upcoming one, and then one more.
Oh, they magically appeared, huh? No, they came.
Seeing the full scale of the rebel earthworks, Gieske decided to call up his 4th regiment from his reserves. General Adcock, standing bravely on top of the earthen fort, decided to shorten his defense, and called all troops outside of the fort to abandon their fortifications and to enter the fort to take up positions there.
No. Going inside the fort is not surrendering. We're basically just sitting there saying, you can't touch.
Finally, after a contested landing, Haddock's men had landed and had driven off the 80 New Hampshire troops defending the coastal fortifications. Meanwhile, Gieske's troops were closing in, getting very close to the fortifications on the outside of the fort.
Slowly and surely. We got them drums playing, battle drums. Where's that damn music at?
There's only one song that we play.
The Royal Navy itself had finally come into action, with 3 frigates open firing on exposed rebel troops outside of the fort.
Blood? The parking lot's gonna be their blood. Y'all figured that out well, fellas.
I tell you what,
At least they brought music to this here slaughter.
In the midst of the battle, a well-placed roll had allowed a dispatch rider to somehow get through the British lines and to General Adcock.
General Adcock, sir. Message from...
My dear General Adcock, I know Boston is besieged now. I want you to know that the fate of unborn millions rests upon your defending Boston. I will not tell you how to run your command, but I will tell you this most noble of causes that we have undertaken hangs in the balance. I have some troops heading to help with the defenses. Use them as you see fit. I pray that you fight and hold. I will send what more help I can when I can. General Fowler, sir.
General Schwantz's hollow words had little effect on the battle at hand, though. At the present moment, Haddock's regiment had begun surging up the eastern side of the fort.
Everybody's able to fire now.
Okay. Well, I mean, you only got some muskets up there. And
Hey, you know what? We got something you don't have. The American spirit. By God, and we're going to win.
Half of our force is from the United States. The colonies.
General Haddock had an interesting trick up his sleeve, involving
General
15
Haddock.
barrels of
General
gun.
Haddock.
What's up?
This color company that's running up the center of the rear of your fort right now,
Yeah.
carrying the colors. You received word from some of your boys firing down on them that they are running up with small little barrels. On their,
Okay, so we're doing a two towers type thing. All right, I got it. Aim for the barrel. All right.
Well, there's like 15 in barrels.
That's fair.
The whole company is lined with barrels.
Aim for all of it with the barrels.
All right.
All right.
depending on the fort, how we're angled, they should not be able to shoot me.
No, he's talking about the medium battery.
No, I'm talking about these right here.
Oh, the New Hampshire
Yeah.
boys?
No. The fort's cannons.
How the
I'm gonna say they're not depressed. That you can't depress them enough for that.
Okay, fine. These guys shall fire.
I'll
canister shot.
The medium battery.
Are we still doing the?
Yep.
Let's time mark.
That's a 6. That's 2 hits.
Damn.
No. With the 6, it instantly detonates all the barrels, and that company's eviscerated.
Yes.
Seeing their colors being erased from existence, the remainder of Haddock's regiment continues their fanatic surge. The British had finally made it on top of the ramparts, looking down into the fort.
To everybody,
Oh, I got you.
the British forces in America outnumber the Americans.
So,
By this point, hand-to-hand fighting was the point of the day, with the bayonet dealing many casualties on both sides. To Haddock's relief, Geski's 1,100 men had finally began their assault on the fort itself, relieving the pressure on his side.
Storm the ramparts.
Good volley off. Those cannons are done.
well, it was a good fight. We held out as long as we could.
So I only have the 3 companies in the front that are going to be able to do anything. How does this work exactly?
As well.
He's healthy.
By this point, the British had taken severe casualties. Point-blank cancer shot at their packed ranks, along with point-blank musket fire, was dealing heavy losses to their side. At the climax of the battle, the British were able to form a line on the fort walls looking down, and they found General Adcock in their sights.
Come on, boys! Let's get him! Give him the cold steel! Hurry up, you Oh, God, my leg. Private Spillberry, get up! Get up! I don't lie, it's gonna be better for the campfire attack.
All right, General Adcock, you've had your leg blown off. You're now incapacitated. You need to roll.
That chair is behind you now.
Hey, you need to roll to see if your executive officer takes command. But, well, you're currently in this melee right now, so we'll see if he takes command.
Does he not have his own initiative to just see, like, oh, hey, the commander's legs?
Well, that's why he's rolling to see how well he does it. If he's gonna,
See how well he pays attention.
You saw his commander. He was like,
What do I got to roll here?
let's see here. Okay.
I mean, I'd like to think if I saw him.
So you roll between a 1 and 2. They will struggle to maintain control, and all units will receive 2 morale points. Wait, hold up. Yeah. The general's killed. If you roll between 11 and 9, all units receive 1 morale point. And if you roll a 20, no morale points, and he seamlessly takes command.
And of course, I got a freaking 1.
You got
Of course, I got a 1.
Dude, hey, so
That's pretty much gonna rout everybody.
yeah, all forces instantly surrender.
Yeah.
All remaining forces instantly surrender. So death.
I would like to dispatch my surgeons as quickly as possible to save his life.
In late December, British forces were reconsolidating in Boston and enjoying their victory. Meanwhile, General Schwanz had begun to draw battle lines to seize Fort Lightfoot. However, unbeknownst to both sides, General Adcock was not yet beaten, and he still had a few more dice to roll.
I'm a frontiersman.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm pretty comfortable in the woods.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can like steal a Brit's uniform and sneak out and take off running, or?
There is. I'll say you've been there enough time that you kind of recognize British patterns when it comes to the guards and stuff.
Okay, all right.
So you do know there's one point in the night where there's a guard that stands with his back towards you, at least for 15 minutes.
All right. We're gonna try to subdue that guard, take his clothes, and leave in the middle of the night.
Go ahead and roll. Let's see if anyone asks any questions. Okay, you are stopped by a NCO as soon as you walk out the gate.
Halt! Where are you going? What is your business?
Oh, well, hi there, Judge. How you doing there, good chap? I'm just going out west to get some wood for the campfire, sir. It's very, very, very cold over there in Boston at this time of year. Christmas Day, too, sir. Come on, just let me go get some berries and some wood.
All right, sounds good to me.
And just like that, Barclay Adcock was on the loose, and the report of his escape would only come the next morning.
General Hardick, as far as the strength and disposition of our forces in the fort, I was thinking we could part off some of our men to repair the ramparts, further secure our position in Boston.
General!
What is it, soldier? Speak.
General
Out with it, man!
General Adcock has escaped.
How dare he?
You lie.
No, sir. He was not there this morning when we
How
checked.
did this come to pass?
Well, sir, I saw an unconscious soldier and inspected
Bring me that man. Investigate.
Where is that soldier now?
He's currently in the hospital, sir.
Get Colonel DeForge to go investigate.
Yes, sir, Frederick.
What was that noise? What is it?
Sir, the colonel has shot the man.
He's shot the man?
He shot the man.
The wounded man in our fort?
In the face, sir.
Why did he shoot the man?
You'd have to ask him, sir.
Bring him to me right now.
Yes, sir.
Adcock was now free, but he was still woefully behind the lines of British-controlled territory. Meanwhile, General Schwantz would have the last say in the year 1776 as he launched his attack on Fort Lightfoot. We hope you enjoyed our episode on the Bayonets of 76 campaign. If you have any ideas on how our generals could wage the war in New England, send them a dispatch, post haste. The outcome of the war is in your hands. As the Battle of Boston was underway, Schwantz ordered the assault on Lightfoot to commence, with the troops of his Connecticut line leading the charge. The artillery on the fort opened fire, signaling the beginning of the battle. The rebels would have to cross over marshy and open ground to even reach the fort. And the first casualties of the day would be the American horse, annihilated by the fort's guns, and now the gunners would focus their sights on the Connecticut boys attempting to cross the Albany Road. Though the rebel navy was present, they were unable to elevate their guns to reach the fort. Schwantz would order them back in order to save them the effort. Schwantz would have to rethink his plans.
Alright.
Well, so our cab is destroyed. Could have swore I said we should have pulled it back.
Yeah, I don't care about them.
You know, we need things like horses.
We still have dragoons up the trail.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
I think this fort means nothing. The ships won't be able to hit us or support us like I thought.
We're on the road. Let's march to Albany.
Schwanz decided to left face his army and head towards Albany, across the bridge. But the British were not keen to let them leave without at least some casualties. In order to cover his withdrawal, Schwanz would decide to use his 2 batteries of medium artillery to shell the fort.
I just remember I'd move those guys there.
Play Fallout. He's playing Fallout a lot.
Hey, Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings. I'm playing Age of Empires a lot, though.
Dude, yeah.
I've been trying to play Crusader Kings on the hard difficulty.
So what are we doing?
All right.
Dude, if they're leaving,
They overestimated our strength,
Exactly.
and I think
They're
that played to our advantage. You guys were right. We should have held the fort, and we did hold the fort. Initially, I was panicked because I thought we were going to be advanced on by more than just one
regiment.
ball regiment. Yeah.
I think obviously we can't reach them because I was thinking maybe we could ride out with our dragoons and kind of like shut them up their
Harry
losses,
them a
but
little bit.
We can't. But
Company,
unfortunately, we got a little thing. I think we should fire one more time on their artillery and then kind of just keep our artillery hitting so that way we don't take more losses and have them leave and we'll call it a day.
The battle for Fort Lightfoot has ended, kind of stalemate, and you have withdrawn west across the Hudson River.
So we're in Albany right now?
I'll say you're just not entering Albany. You'll get a full report of what is there and if there's any opposition next turn.
We're going to wait and have the new year here in Albany. Get the troops rested up because we're not done marching. The sloops are going to be...
You know what you need to do? Send them. Am I allowed to send them?
Dude, I don't know.
I'm not allowed to say anything.
Have I got any word about my forces in Montreal? Colonel Arnold was supposed to go up there.
So you received a dispatch as you were entering Albany.
Yeah, they were disorderly.
Yes. So the dispatch from General Arnold that went up to Montreal.
He's Colonel.
Colonel Arnold. He informed you that when he arrived, everything was a mess.
Yes.
He reported that all the men had pretty much went on drunken stupor and pretty much started raiding and pillaging the town.
I would expect no less than
General Manfurter.
So did anything change from last time?
So he reports that General Manfurter is nowhere to be seen.
Yes. That's what he said last time. I thought this was the turn he was supposed to...
Well, he's taking command.
Okay.
He has taken command of the troops in Montreal. He is sending out search parties looking for General Manfurter. He believes that he is either dead or has been kidnapped.
Exactly.
Let me ask this question actually though. We've gotten our objective. Like when do they basically stop? Like I can't realistically see that they feel like they have a leg to stand on.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
So
we've taken Boston, we've basically killed most of their army. Like when do we literally just have to shoot them man for man?
So pretty much all these have grander consequences.
Okay.
I can't tell you what those consequences are for the Americans. But yeah.
Okay. So basically right now there's still a force that's basically in Albany that we still
There's still an okay sized force
Somewhere.
the Americans aren't like 100% decimated like.
There's a shattered regiment in Albany, the regiment in Boston's gone, and then they have something in Canada.
Or at least something north of us, that's for sure.
But they took Montreal with.
Are we positive that was the same force that was in Albany came from the Worcester battle? Those were those boys?
I would hazard a guess to say yes, because I don't think anything else could come across them there.
Alright, so what's going on? Are we raising troops? Are we raising morale? Are we rebuilding? Are we going to load up our boys in Boston? Go ahead and start that since we know they're over there?
I think we should honestly reinforce the Boston stronghold because they're going to try and take that back. And maybe the one in Albany as well, reinforce that one. And then everything left, we should probably send up north.
Oh, I do agree. Ultimately, we need to go north. I was thinking we take what we got from Boston that can go on a ship and load it on a ship to New York. Leave that garrison in Boston, march everything else west, Worcester, Hadley, Northampton, Albany, and then whatever's in New York City, march north from Kingston and Albany. We get them like across.
Yeah, I agree.
And then whatever we decimate there, they'll have to run to the northwest, so we can just keep pushing them towards Canada and then destroy what's left over there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Can you scroll up just real quick?
So, the 44th Regiment of Foot will be loaded up on sloops in central New York City. 3 companies that are more or less under strength are going to stay in Boston, and every other regiment of foot is going to march west towards Fort Langford.
In early January 1777, American forces had occupied Albany, with their forces concentrated near there. The British, however, were not sitting idly by. All forces began moving west in order to close the ring on the rebels.
My boys have just received word about the butcher at Boston.
Yes, they've received word of the Battle of Forlorn Hope.
In order to raise morale, I'm going to share this letter with the troops and tell them that we're never going to surrender. This is what they do to their enemies. This is how savage the British are.
Like the reward, 100 golden guineas to any man in New England that can bring me the escaped General Adcock
With one
back
less
to me.
leg. I want him to have one less leg when you bring him to me.
Yeah.
One less leg.
Barkley 1 leg. Then many can bring him back alive to
Bring him back alive
the
with
nearest British
0
garrison
legs.
to get 100 golden guineas. So I want that leaflet to be disseminated throughout New England.
All right, that'll be your special move.
That's fine.
It has reached everywhere.
Alright, I would like to try to raise a small force of militia out of Lancaster.
Okay, go ahead and roll for that.
Get resupplied. 17.
17. Give me this.
Get resupplied. Give me some troops.
17 as well. Okay, so with that, you're going to raise 3 companies of militia.
Okay.
3 companies of militia say they will join you.
During late January, early February, the Americans had made their plan. Schwantz would advance south in order to attack the hopefully undefended New York, whilst Adcock raised a guerrilla army in the British rear. The British, meanwhile, had been halted on the other side of the Connecticut River, due to the ridges being destroyed. The only forces able to reach the Hudson River would be the Royal Navy contingent and land forces under Colonel DeForge.
What I'd like to do, let's confirm that we don't have a one-legged pegged man somewhere in our midst of our forces that's traveling with us, since he's obviously wearing a British uniform.
Right. Let's do
I'd like to do a head count.
a pass and review.
That's going to be your turn.
That's fine.
That's going to be your special move.
That's fine. We need
I want, and this will be to the bottom of the
breeches up.
All right, roll.
Lift
for
your
it.
breeches.
Roll the dice.
This one.
Yep.
Look at that ceiling.
Okay, so in your pass review, your men look great. Yeah, they've all raised their stockings. Everyone has 2 legs. However, you do receive word on your way through Worcester that a merchant gave a horse to a British soldier who said he was lost.
Of course he did.
But he only and this soldier promised him that he'd be reimbursed ×2 for the loss of the horse. But he realized that after the soldier started riding off, that the uniform had blood all over it.
Okay. Did he say what direction this horseman?
He said he was riding north, and he met them on the Worcester-Boston Road.
In early February, the British were attempting to rebuild the Hadley Bridge with every man they could muster. Meanwhile, Schwantz, hoping for a lightning attack, loaded up all of his Connecticut regiment onto ships and planned to sail south directly to New York City, with the remainder of his land force traveling parallel with the fleet via the road. However, contact would be made on the Hudson, as both American and British fleets met in a surprise encounter.
Much else to do, so it's either fight or die. And I know they're not just going to surrender, so.
Okay, so
All right,
we are having one.
Got nothing on that one.
Here, hand me some white flour.
Shoot that man in the face.
Shoot in the face, sir.
Shoot him in the face.
In the face. He shot himself. In the face.
He shot the man?
As the naval forces began to engage, the rebel
Okay,
artillery
these
on
batteries are
land
gonna
returned
fire
to
these
5
bad boys.
British ships.
I think they were both in
We're taking in IDF.
I got 7.
The British fleet began to form a line of battle. The British commanders were confident that their ship's gunnery would outmatch the Americans. This assumption would prove correct, as an ammo detonation would send an American brig into the depths of the Hudson. In our rules, glinting bayonets, rolling a 12 causes an instant ammo detonation on a ship. depending on the ship class and conditions, of course. Here you can see the result of such a roll.
Oh my god.
Flagship is gone, baby!
Well, my admiral just died.
You get to lose these too. What's the term for ammo racking?
You've been kablocked.
Blocked, I thought it was.
Blocked.
Another display of British gunnery was shown when the American flagship was blown to bits by a concentrated British broadside. However, shortly before this devastating loss, the line regiment that was stationed on the fleet had begun rowing for their lives to shore, taking minimal casualties. The American fleet would go down fighting. A broadside managed to blow a British brig to bits, raising the morale of Schwanz's troops.
Yeah. So these guys are hightailing it back that way, it looks like to me, but they're
gonna be covering their retreat.
the main regiment, yeah, is covering the retreat.
That's
So
fine.
what I wanted to do is possibly maybe just do a one-on-one, because they left this guy out just to die, it seems like.
If we take that out, we take out the American Navy.
So would it be better to just, instead of flanking them this way and take out those rowboats, just take this guy out?
No, I think it's good to take that guy out and then move towards those rowboats because we'll be able to shoot their troops on that side.
Okay, then that's what I'll do. That's what I needed to find out.
Yeah.
Finally, the remnants of the Connecticut Regiment had landed ashore, some still on fire. As the last vestiges of the American Navy were fighting the British in the Hudson, it seemed as though the British were mirroring the Americans, as they too had begun landing their troops ashore as well.
If they lost their flagship, shouldn't they have a morale deficit?
This isn't much. Okay. I'll give you a can of barbasol.
A 4, that is a hit there on.
That's a 1.
That's a 5, so.
Okay.
So another bead.
Another bead.
Fire upon that boy right there.
And miss.
And I'm not within a quarter inch, so.
We're just waiting. Hey,
Ammo did it!
The last American brig seemed to be putting in the work of an entire squadron, as it got another critical hit on another British ship, sending it to the bottom of the Hudson. This is when the British received some news.
Hey, so the cavalry that you dispatched from Fort Lightfoot to check out Albany, you received a report back.
Okay.
Albany is deserted.
Cool.
So you can ascertain that this is
the last of the American
is the American army that seized Albany.
They seized it?
Well, remember
when
that
they marched through, they captured. But this is
they
obviously
received no
their
resistance.
whole American force, which means they're going back for Albany.
All right.
So, they're obviously going to be marching back and going back that way.
Yeah.
You have a choice. We can either go back to our fort because we know what way they're going, or we could take our artillery out, post up in Albany, and at least hold them, and then push this force up.
That's what I'm thinking.
The British in-game was to force the Americans to Albany, and hopefully catch them in a hammer and anvil strike with their force crossing the mountains. However, they were unaware that Schwantz had dispatched the Montreal garrison south to join him.
Well, let's can we set up our troops?
Oh yeah, set up our troops.
All right.
As Colonel DeForge's British regiment had finally landed ashore, the American batteries opened fire on
So
them.
what's the role now?
Simultaneously, in the river,
Is it a plus
there
two,
was a
so
boarding
plus 12?
action as the British attempted to capture the last American ship and add it to their spoils of war.
Board that ship! Oh, good deal.
All right, gentlemen. So, as your sailors are currently fighting aboard this American ship, they notice that some Americans slowly start disappearing, going below decks.
Oh.
And you see all of them raise their hands and say, "We surrender," and they bring their captain above board, and they shoot him in the head.
They shoot the captain in the head?
They shoot the captain in the head.
Americans shoot their captain in the head.
Yes, and they tell you that the reason.
That's it? Okay.
You want to go there?
I already did
They
it.
tell you the reason is because the captain tried to go below deck and light the entire gunpowder magazine.
You
To
know
kill
what?
them
Trying to
all.
blow up the ship.
No,
Yeah.
he tried to blow the ship.
And with that final defeat, General Schwantz issued an order to the army to withdraw back to Albany to set up defensive positions.
So, we're going to call this a
British
win for the
victory?
British.
Since the
And
Americans are retreating.
as the Americans are retreating, we're going to be pulling our ships back this way. We're going to leave the army right there for right now.
En route back to Albany, General Schwantz confers with his staff on what their next move should be.
Okay, early February, post the Battle of Mid-Hudson. So Congress tells you that they are very pleased with Montreal, the French are, and that they have pledged nominal support currently. You'll be receiving that support in the form of 2 brigs and a frigate.
Can we dictate where they come in at?
The French have already dispatched it, so the word's not going to reach them until they hit the coast.
And then General Colvin is still coming up, expected mid-March or early March.
You received word that at least a regiment of North Carolinians have just crossed the border into Pennsylvania.
What does Congress know right now? What is taking place?
So as far as Congress is aware, last Congress heard is
I was heading toward Lightfoot.
No. Okay, so I'm saying you've nominally been sending dispatches to them. You know,
Okay.
They last know that you were about to take contact somewhere near Albany. That's the last they've heard.
I say we let Congress know our plan, and if they can do something to help us, which they haven't so far, so I don't see why they would.
Fine. My dispatch to Congress, and I'm going to move those troops in Montreal. Send a dispatch to Colonel Arnold. Tell him to march with all haste down to Saratoga.
All haste.
Send a letter to Congress informing them that we had some contact south of Albany.
Things got a little sticky there.
And we lost most of our Navy.
Do we own all of New England yet?
No. So as far as you're aware, New Hampshire here, still rebel control. These parts of upstate New York, so Montreal, Plattsburgh, Saratoga, and currently Albany, Washington, and Crabsbury. So here, I'll just outline it.
Okay. Let's while you're doing
This
that,
right here,
still Americans.
that right there, this is what you control.
Okay.
This is all nominally under American control. They might not have troops stationed there.
Yeah, but it says American influence. Here's what I'll do. I will dispatch 1 regiment, and I want them to just start marching towards Portsmouth. Portsmouth. Oh, no, it's Mouth. Yeah, Portsmouth. Hey, you got a nice mouth on you. Hey.
Pretty sure it's muff, but whatever.
Yeah, that says M-O-U-T-H.
Okay. So you'll send them there. They will be there in 2 turns. 2 turns they will be there.
Well, that's going to be the 1 regiment. That's fine. The rest of them, I want them marching towards Albany.
Okay. The bridge is now completed at Hadley.
It's now completed?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
now completed. So they'll march over. They will be there. They have to cross the mountain, so I'll say 2 turns.
2 turns as well?
Yeah. 2 turns.
Okay. Yeah, basically that's what I want.
So that'll be 3 regiments moving from Hadley, 1 regiment moving to Portsmouth, and your 5th regiment will be heading up to Albany.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Late February, Americans. So your troops have finally reached Albany.
Colonel Arnold's in Saratoga.
No, he's probably starting to cross this bridge across from Saratoga now. There's an issue. Your troops have taken contact at Albany.
Okay, what about them?
Do you want to fight it out, or you want to withdraw somewhere else?
What's the enemy force look like?
Same enemy force was on the table here, right?
Currently, no.
No?
No.
How can that be?
That force is still trailing you. It is still right behind you.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. You've taken contact in Albany. So far, it has only been some cannon shots. Some cannon fire from inside the city.
Well, I'm not even in the area, so I can't say anything.
What would you like to do, General?
If I fight, I get pinched.
I will also state that you have noticed that the British Navy is also sailing parallel with you.
want to send a rider out real quick. To General Colvin, informing him just to head to New York. I will meet him there.
The force in Albany and the force chasing the force that's heading towards Albany, the American force, reports to you that the Americans are conducting a left face in front of your line. And they are moving into the woods.
Oh, of course they are.
Yeah. They are leaving 2 companies on the road to hold you off.
Okay.
Do you wish to pursue into the
I say
woods?
no.
Yeah, we're gonna stay right there.
Yeah, we'll stay down.
Oh, wait, so you're okay, you're just gonna let them go into the woods.
Yeah, they can go in the woods. I'd say go and pull back and go back to Kingston. So they don't try to go south on us. Let's wait for reinforcements. We know they're either going west or south, but let's make sure they don't get to the border.
Yeah, I would also say yeah, go Kingston.
Yeah, we're gonna push the regiment that was south of Albany. They're gonna go push back. We'll hold Albany with the dragoons and artillery, and we'll keep waiting for the other regiments to cross over the mountains.
In late February, Hardick and Geski's combined commands were exiting the Green Mountains to engage the Americans decisively in the west. Colonel DeForge's regiment would head south, towards Kingston, to link up with the Royal Navy there. Schwantz would tail DeForge, with his Montreal contingent about to be engaged north of Albany. However, unknown to DeForge, this would be exactly where the Americans would want him, as the long-awaited regiment of General Colvin would arrive from the west, catching him in a pincer if the Americans were quick enough. To the east, General Adcock, after raising 4 militia companies and an artillery battery with his rousing charisma, began a withdrawal after he was informed of a British force approaching from the south. The spring of 1777 would determine the fate of the Revolution in New England. We hope you enjoyed our episode on the Bayonets of 76 campaign. If you have any ideas on how our generals could wage the war in New England, send us a dispatch. Post haste. The fate of the war is in your hands. British soldiers stationed in Albany were shocked when they heard the hard-riding hooves of over 75 rebel cavalry entering from the north. At first, the brig guarding the bridge opened fire, to little effect.
It's actually just a bunch of popsicle sticks.
That seems to be your.
Can I kill their general? That's allowed, right?
What's the range on it?
It's like they're
40.
40. That's 40. They can hit, but they're not within half range. Not yet.
4.
Is a hit.
That's a hit. It's gonna hit the first unit over there.
Give me them boys.
Y'all just wait till I get my little men painted up. Y'all just fucking
The only unit in rebel view was a battery of medium artillery in the center of the town, which fired round shot down their pike ranks. The British dragoons stationed in Albany were still out of sight.
Hold on. I actually do want to make sure. I know Nick will be like, well, can they shoot him? Terrified if we saw some floating fuckers.
Rebel dragoons soon began to spread out around the town, with a single company going straight towards the artillery, which fired a devastating canister.
I have a landing machine.
That's some canister right
Okay,
there.
we can get some.
And let's go ahead and charge him.
Charge!
Someone did.
British dragoons soon began to spill out from the houses, heading towards their horses.
At them as they form.
It's a sheet.
3.
No,
Move that thing.
The can.
And mine's simply 5.
What's back?
I wasn't forming. I wasn't retreating from a building.
That's a pretty huge battle.
Burn the house.
All right, now let's take out a general while we're at it, boys.
No, gotta hit on him.
Expecting more British to be in the town, the rebels began to set fire to the houses.
Shift these right.
Don't let up.
Alright, hey, so you just received a dispatch.
Yeah.
Okay? By the way, I need to put a general staff out here for you. 1 regiment is about to cross that bridge.
Cool.
The other two are lagging behind, and my guy's stuck in the mountains, okay? One is about to cross that bridge at the beginning of your turn. They're going to start marching across.
Do we also have that
And
company?
then our company.
Yeah, that other company's going to
Marines.
dismount as well. Yeah. So your Marines are going to dismount, and you're going to have a single regiment be able to join the fray. Okay? Any questions?
Nope.
All right.
Geski's loyalist American regiment had arrived, and he ordered them to quickly cross the bridge in order to join the British forces on the other side, while he pulled up with the rest of the army in the rear.
You want back here?
Yeah. So you see the Marines disembark, okay? And then you also hear the sound of drums coming from across the river right here.
Drums. Are they playing Yankee Doodle or God Save the Queen? That's very...
You don't know.
An American loyalist regiment has appeared. Crossing this bridge right here.
They're playing Yankee Doodle. Thank God.
To the sound of British Grenadiers.
Yeah. All right, Brits, it is your turn.
And with that, the New York Volunteers have entered the fray. At the same time, a company of British Marines have also landed from the brig ashore.
Extra shot.
Come on, baby. It's a 2 though.
It's a 2.
It's still. You need a good dab. You take this one right here.
I got a 4.
Our reinforcements finally joined us.
I got your watch.
With both sides attempting to take the other's artillery, there were few Americans in the center to hold off the Loyalists. And soon the Americans began to realize they might have to formulate a new strategy. And the Americans would send a courier.
British commander, a rebel courier with a white flag has approached your lines.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And I believe it's General Geske that's here right now.
Where's that at?
Okay. The courier?
Yeah. Okay, my colonel hasn't asked if you would do a parlay. We are going to retreat, whatever direction this would be toward me, west.
Okay.
We're going to cease hostilities. We're just going to move. You have taken the field.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whoa.
Hey, you guys aren't here right now. You guys aren't here. This
As the Battle of Albany concluded, Schwantz's final gamble in the West was to unfold at Kingston with General Colvin's regiment engaging DeForge. As both sides prepared for battle, DeForge realized that he had blundered into a trap. His objective now would be to attempt to reach the bridge across the Hudson and to hopefully reach New York City before the Americans could get there. DeForge knew that time was not on his side, as he knew that Schwantz's army was right behind him. DeForge would move a company to the right in order to allow the rest of his regiment to escape to the left as a holding action. The Americans were not going to be fooled, though, and they pressed the attack hard. General Colvin knew he had to keep DeForge in place for Schwantz to arrive on his rear. A cemetery to the left commanded the bridge, and the rebel light infantry soon occupied it, meaning the British would have to fight their way through the dead in order to reach New York. However, the British were already out of time, as Schwantz's army had arrived in the rear. Schwantz's army would march in column in order to arrive to the battle quickly.
40 inches for these bad boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit, double damage.
Throw 2 beads on the flag.
Now you know what it feels like to be an American.
Dude, I'm being sandwiched and it's not cool.
You know what it feels like to be an American.
Hey, all right, Geske and Hardick. So you just received a dispatch in Albany that General DeForge has been engaged in Kingston. Okay, he's telling you he's going to attempt to withdraw across the bridge into New York, but there is a second force that has come from the south, and he is getting pinched right now.
All right, I'm gonna shoot with these guys. 5 to 6, penetrate.
With General Schwantz in the field, both generals are finally able to meet and discuss strategy.
All right, your general staffs have met outside the town.
General Colvin, we need to pursue them across the bridge and annihilate this section of the British Army, and then take New York.
What's gonna happen? Okay, I'm worried about my right flank over here. He could decide to fight back from that bridge. If he does, he could easily take out that.
Move your units to
escape.
your right, and I will take up your left.
Well, aren't we just thinking on the same wavelength here? So next turn,
Oh, I will leave the battle then.
No, next turn I'm going to shoot. I'm going to shoot and put as much damage as I can, but I'm going to shift that whole hook to the right, and you come around the back of this house here, take up the left. Where's your cannons at? Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jeopardize the cannons.
I'm not.
We can
I'm
do it
about to
without
move 2
jeopardizing.
companies to protect my rear.
Yeah. If these guys can hold out 1 British turn order, which I think they can, because they can only get shot once, and that's not.
Don't be afraid to target their general staff either.
Strategy to entrap the British was seeming to work, as a fishhook began to circle around the British lines, preventing them from crossing the bridge. Although 3 British companies were able to cross the bridge in time, the rest were annihilated.
What's happening up here? We have no idea. He could have been completely routed,
So
or he
here's-
could have won. Listen,
Okay,
before
I'll
we start
listen.
talking, just listen, okay? We don't know what is in New York. We don't have any intelligence rolls of nothing of what they have in New York. We've been burned like this before. We just want a good victory here. We got extensive casualties of our own to deal with. I say, for right now, we just hold what we got. We fortify the city of Kingston, start building up breastworks, stuff like that, because we know they're coming for us, either out of New York or from up here possibly. We send a dispatch up to Albany, figure out what's going on there, and we try to get an intelligence roll into New York to see what we're fighting there. Let's not just take this whole army across the bridge without knowing what's over here. We have no idea what's over here. These guys from Boston could have went back here. We have no idea what's over here.
It's early March; they wouldn't have had time.
Okay, they might not have, but we.
So
we
here's
still
what we're
don't know
gonna
what's
do:
over here.
is my army will go south and we'll go across, meet at that bridge. You will go north. We'll hit New York in a pincer movement.
I would not split these armies up.
Well, we're going to split these armies up because I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because if we stay on this side of the river, they're going to send everything from Albany up there to Kingston and be able to pincer us in. I'm not going to have that happen again. I'm going to split this army to keep it.
March, British, what do you have to tell me?
Okay, Geske is sending the message through the brigs. The brigs will be traveling on the river.
All the brigs on the Hudson River
Yep.
are going to be traveling where?
To New York. Specifically to the New York area, down here, and they will have a message for Colonel DeForgy. You're being demoted. Colonel, saying what to do, what troops, he has to raise troops in the whole of New York.
He has to hold New York?
He has to hold New York.
Okay.
The troops on the brigs, they will disembark our Marines and join the line of
Defense.
infantry. They'll join the defense.
Okay, so you get four companies of Marines.
4 companies of Marines. He's supposed to raise troops that he can from New York and Riverbend and any surrounding area that he can, and raise as many in whole New York until we get troops to support him.
Okay, so as far as you're aware, so he's in command. Geske's in charge of command in Albany. You're in charge of the regiment that's heading north.
Yeah, I'm already.
Okay.
I'm in Portsmouth.
Yeah. What do you want to do there?
In Portsmouth, so you said I found
Found remnants of an army.
I'm gonna ask the local populace what they've seen.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to roll a d20 for that then.
Yeah, give me that.
That's not. That's the other one.
It's still
Yeah,
that's
that
what I'm
right
trying to say.
Roll and don't look.
Yeah, I know.
All right. They.
What I roll?
So the populace in Portsmouth is this is an extreme bed of rebel sentiment here in New Hampshire. Okay? Extreme bed of rebel sentiment.
So they're bitches. That's
Yes, in essence. What you do here is rumor of either north or west.
oh good. So
That's
anywhere where I didn't come from. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we'll hold up in Portsmouth, and I will share some of my delicious spiced rum that I have from the Caribbean left over from my, party of my dead troops that I had a couple months back.
As Schwanz began to fortify his position in Kingston and the British fortifying theirs in New York, Geske decided to move south to hopefully hit Schwanz in the final battle that could end this war.
Okay.
Or yeah, sorry, east.
Very well. So I will blow that southern bridge,
Blow the
and I'll
southern
man,
one with your
I'll man the
troops and
northern
man
bridge.
the northern.
Very
no,
well.
no, man the northern.
I'll say that bridge completely be detonated by next turn.
Okay.
Dude, just man the fortifications in New York because they're fortified. You don't have to waste any time or troops on the Kingston Bridge then.
If there is an engagement in Kingston, you will be able to reinforce if you're leaving from New York, but it will take time. Whereas if you're just on the other side of the bridge, you'll be able to reinforce nearly instantly.
But can't he shoot us from Kingston to the other side of the bridge?
He could shell. He could shell you, yes.
I mean, I assume my thing is they're going to be able to see you. He's literally, they'll come in here next turn.
This is flat open ground.
You see troops on the other side of the bridge digging, so they'll just charge you. That's all that's going to happen.
All right, I will stay put. I blew that bridge. I'll stay put in New York until I'm needed.
Could we do a special move to make him think that there is a large British force in Bridgeport?
In Bridgeport?
Yes, because then he thinks, okay, I got dudes to the north of me, and I got hella dudes to the east of me.
How about we roll and say, I think it's more likely that they see our ships, and we can lie to them saying that we now have a force on the southern part. Can you point where New York is? Go south, to the left.
Cross the river.
Yeah, cross the river and south of that, like in the corner on the beach right there.
Right here.
So we could lie and say like they saw our ships and then they saw our fleet and now all of a sudden they have like regiments there. That's more likely.
You do a special move for that and make them think we have dudes to the south?
Yeah.
Okay.
That way it's on their side.
Actually, you should roll for it.
Yeah. Alright, we'll turn this way.
What's stopping him from lying about our rolls, you know?
Nothing.
All right.
And that church right there, that should give them perfect vantage point.
Yeah.
We left them a
They'll see.
fucking spyglass.
Yeah, they'll see.
All right. And if they are there to take some pot shots, targeting officers only, we got our best shots right there. And then the cav is to send word. If they feel they cannot do anything here, they're to come toward us. They're to come toward us.
All right, yeah, I'm stopping.
They're to come toward us and let us know so we can set up a hasty rear defense.
The British ruse to land in the south totally fooled the Americans, and Schwartz, leaving only a token force in Kingston, marched south to meet them there. Gasky would take advantage of the situation and move into Kingston, basically taking Kingston without a fight.
So, your boys in New York, and I'll say, they're looking across the river. The fake operations occurring to the south.
Okay.
And the Americans have taken the bait.
Could you hand me a fake beer real quick?
I'll hand you a fake beer. So the Americans have taken the bait.
Have they really? What is their...
So,
Okay.
your boys in New York report that 2 regiments, it doesn't like the regiments as wholes, they're missing their light infantry. But they are moving south here. And they are just now reaching the area where the fake operation is occurring.
Okay. You know what time it is, baby?
Are we able to ascertain what the size of the American formation coming towards that fake operation is?
2 regiments, 1 under strength.
What do our ships see in Kingston? Because our brigs are on the river, right outside Kingston.
They see them moving. They see them leaving.
Do they see any
They are
troops
cooperating.
in Kingston?
They report that there's a little bit in Kingston, but I mean, all the reports that you're getting is telling you there are 2 regiments in Kingston. What's leaving Kingston are those 2 regiments, with them perhaps leaving their detachments in Kingston. So their light infantry will be left there. If they have grenadiers, they are left there as well.
Okay.
So the main bulk of the army, though, is heading
They
south.
actually put another fast one on us. It's actually not their troops. It's horses.
How far south are they? Like, are they too far?
Next turn, they're going to be there. So whenever they come in, they will be there.
Okay, then I would like to
They're out of the town.
advance my troops from the woods, my 2 regiments, onto Kingston.
Okay. Do you want to do anything with these guys? Just your 2 regiments. All right, gentlemen. So late May. Okay. Your 2 regiments have reached the beachhead, and there is nothing there.
So who the fuck was telling us that they were getting off on rowboats?
I need to know that actually. Yeah.
So your dragoons that screen south, they saw rowboats heading to the shore from the Armada.
To the western shore.
To the western shore.
To the shore.
The western
To
shore.
the western shore. If they get there, they don't see anything. All they do see are ships sailing north. At the same time that your regiment reaches you, or reaches that landing point, you receive dispatch from Kingston
That they are disembarking.
that they are under attack. Or that the force from the woods have left and they're moving on to Kingston. What would you like them to do?
Have they been taking their pot shots at their officers? Any luck?
I mean, they've been shooting here or there, but they're kind of like, oh god, this is a lot of guys. Like, there's like a lot of dudes coming at us, and we only have like 100 guys here, so they're wondering what we want them to do.
What's the terrain around the beachhead like that we're at? Is it just flat? Is it all flat field?
Flat and sound.
How many regiments did they see?
So they tell you that there's at least 2 coming out.
2 coming out.
There are 2 coming out of these woods and moving on to the town. Now, mind you, I think you only have like 3 light infantry,
4 light infantry.
4 light infantry, and your
And the fictitious cav.
yes.
Great.
Have them do a delaying action and just find out.
No, we're not in Kingston.
I know we're gonna have to come back to Kingston, but have them do a delaying
I don't
action.
want to go to Kingston because that gives them buildings to hide in.
Yeah. But it also gives us buildings to hide in.
The Royal Navy is also screening you along this river here.
We are currently where? Point to them on the map for me.
No good defense.
Should have gone east. I fucking know I should have.
This is where you are.
There's no good
We're right
defense.
there.
Yeah,
I
right.
want to go to the crossroads.
Okay.
It's gonna be all flat.
Yeah, that's fine.
What would you like to do at the crossroads?
Can we make a deal with the devil? That's crossroads.
Possibly could.
With the Americans pushed into a corner, Schwantz decided to fortify the crossroads south of Kingston, in hopes that the British would attack him in a frontal assault there. However, the British would not be so easily fooled, and they would stay in Kingston for a while.
As I stated, your ruse worked. So as you entered Kingston, some rebel pickets let some pot shots off at you, General Geske, but then they withdrew. There's about 4 companies worth of light infantry. You see them bouncing out of the town south.
Continue.
So they have withdrawn. Are you going to continue with both your regiments down there?
Yep.
Very well. Okay.
Whereas one beside another, continuing south into Kingston until we push them from the city.
No, I think,
they're out.
You own the city.
They're out. You own the city. You own the city.
Then I will create a skirmish line south of Kingston and begin erecting breastworks.
Okay. Your navy, which is still off the coast. Okay. They report to you. And I wouldn't give this to you unless you had such a significant naval presence there, which you do. Like, you are the masters of the sea. Okay? Koenig auf dem Meer.
Master and commander.
Yeah, I did. Koenig auf dem Meer, yeah.
Yes.
So, the Navy reports that the enemy has set up defensive positions at the crossroads south of Kingston.
Defensive positions, crossroads, south of Kingston. So you're talking where those 2 roads meet, right there? That area?
Yeah.
Okay, they set up defensive positions.
They say that they are beginning to erect breastworks.
That's fine. I don't think we should pursue them. I mean, we hold Kingston and New York City.
And Boston.
They're the ones in the middle of nowhere without any strategic value. We shouldn't die for a field when we have 2 cities.
Nope.
So what I will tell you is to remember your orders. To pacify New England in its entirety.
I mean, okay, we did that.
Well, I mean, we were driving them south of New England. The Southern Colonies are another theater commander's business.
That's the middle colonies and
whatever.
And
anything south of me is the south.
You have not driven them out.
We don't have to.
Until they cross that border out of your jurisdiction.
So I'd like to articulate that to best defend our holdings in New England, we have to consolidate what we got. Consolidate New York, consolidate Kingston. We have if we push the initiative onto breastworks, we lose good British men that could be better served defending Kingston or New York City. So we're not going to push the initiative.
Very well. Okay. So, go ahead.
I'd like to send word for the British that they do not march south to begin an attack. I will start executing 1 prisoner per day.
No, chopping off 1 finger a day. We'll send
I
that
will
back.
chop off 1 phalange-shaped object per day. 1 phalange-shaped object a day per person.
Yeah, Aaron doesn't like them.
Very well. Is that
Until they come down here
Because we're not going
and
up there.
fight us up there, mainly because
They're trying to go to some
my boys are fat off that hog.
Yeah.
They're not.
Tell them we ate their pigs and they were delicious. All right.
And don't feel like marching. That is this American Army's movement.
We stand fast in our positions. We eat food, drink wine now, which they can't do in their cruddy little crossroads.
I mean, yeah, they have no supplies, basically.
They have no. What is in that little 3-road intersection there?
I mean, they will be able to be supplied. They're not in circle.
I know they have that road going.
But as far as having like ale and stuff,
they don't have Kingston. They don't have New York City.
New York sending them supplies.
The largest city in the colonies right now is in British hands, and the citizens there love the Brits. They are Brits. They're loyalists. They're good city and country folk that support the crown. I'm going over time, I know. It's a little bit of a filibuster. But regardless, we're standing fast.
Very well. All right, hey, so early June, this stalemate, these little games playing between y'all. The British do not send a direct response to your goading. However, you hear in New York a massive party being raged. You're like that.
The 1700s.
Yeah. You see, everyone in New York is absolutely partying. You're starting to smell alcohol coming from Kingston.
How many days ride is Kingston for me?
I mean, with days ride.
Can I make it overnight?
There.
Yes.
Don't do it. They're trying to get you to attack. They're not everybody in there is freaking partying. Stick to your original
You
plan.
do receive word that if you don't act, like if you have your command consolidated and you haven't found an opportunity to decisively engage, then you are to withdraw into the lower colonies by late June.
That was our plan.
That was our plan anyway.
Withdrawals.
I've withdrawn.
Okay.
I'm not.
You still have until late June.
Okay, I'm withdrawing now.
We're going to withdraw.
So ends our campaign, with Swanch's army retreating into the middle colonies. Hancock's army will be picked up a few days later by ships from the St. Lawrence, and he too will be sent to the middle colonies. The British had won New England, though they still had some mopping up to do. In the next few months, the British received their next orders to march south and end the war with the taking of Philadelphia. We hope you enjoyed our final episode for the Bayonets of 76 campaign. We hope you had as much fun as we did making this. It was really a great time. Keep an eye out for our AAR that will be posted soon. The war is not yet over. That's it for today's episode. For battles, brushes, and everything in between, make sure you subscribe and join the community. Until next time, Generals, see you on the tabletop.